Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning Board on March 11th. Please ask you to stand up and lead the flag. Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner: posted on the bulletin board in the borough clerk's office, emailed to the retrospect and the courier post. The first order of business this evening would be swearing in our new members. Last meeting, if you recall, we regretfully accepted Scott Pachowski's stepping away for health reasons. Hopefully we'll see him back soon. But in the interim, Mrs. Dodd is going to fulfill his Class 4 position, unexpired term. And in Mary's moving up, ascending, Cashua Farmer will be becoming the 2-year alternate. Mr. Rowan.
Okay, Mary, Commissioner, if you would please rise and raise your right hand, and you're going to repeat after me. And after I say aye, you're going to state your name. I.
I.
State your name.
Mary Dodd.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of New Jersey,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and I will bear true allegiance to the same,
and that I will perform.
and I will perform
That's okay, I'm reading, you just repeat it. To all the duties of the office
to all the duties of the office
as a member of the Planning and Zoning Board
as a member of the Planning and Zoning Board
for the Borough of Runnymede
for the Borough of Runnemede
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Very good. Welcome. Thank you both. Congratulations. We appreciate you volunteering your time to our board. Joyce, will we have roll call, please?
Yes, Chairwoman Cleo.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Here.
Ms. Gushin.
Excused. Ms. Gushin?
Mr. Vanella.
Here.
Ms. Dodds.
Here.
Mr. Opperly.
Here.
Further already called me and said he wouldn't be here.
Okay.
And the mayor is also absent. Mr. Ranieri.
Here.
Ms. Farmer.
Here.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Rowan.
Here.
And Mr. Bach.
Here.
Oh, you are here.
Great. She's really quiet.
You're very quiet. I'm sorry.
Here.
Never.
She wrote it this time, so maybe we'll...
Okay. A motion is in order for the approval of the minutes of the February 12th meeting as submitted by the clerk. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about the minutes? Is there a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion.
Mr. Vanella,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Under old business, we just have maybe a couple things. Mayor's not here this evening, but maybe just a couple things that we wanted to go through. I guess we haven't seen any movement on Caliber Collision, Mr. Bach?
No, they have not submitted a revised application.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday in the mail, I received a notice that they were appearing at the April meeting, but I have no plans.
I saw that in the courier post as well.
Or no application, nothing.
Yeah.
I got the same notice, Judge, yeah.
So,
Yeah, there was nothing attached to it.
no,
Yeah, so they're still, based on what they submitted, they're still deemed incomplete. And we'll
unless they
revisit.
submit something, I mean, they have a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, so they have time, so hopefully we'll see what.
Well, they really don't have a month because, I mean, honestly, this is the March meeting. We're supposed to have stuff for the large applications
Now,
30 days before the meeting that we want to hear
It's
that
not like your application says 14.
on the small, it should say
So you
14 days.
just
We
say,
should
right.
make that clearer than
Yeah,
on the
and we're
application.
going to get together on the application
And we're
forms,
working on the
the fee structure.
revised Summerdale application at the
Yes.
moment, yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, we don't want to hurt them. I mean, but in the big scheme of things, we had said on any large applications like that, we were going to need 30 days to have Mr. Bach's office and Mr. Rowan's office do all the reviews, get everything out to the members so we can go out to the properties, inspect them.
Is this a large occupation, Caliber? I thought it was just a
It's pretty much,
attraction.
well, it's any commercial application, anything other than a mom and pop type of addition or fence permit should really be 30 days.
Well, that's a change that needs to be made in the
I think
application.
they were moving a fence with the application. They were
Changing
moving-
parking.
Well, it
Changing parking.
just shows that they were putting, and again, I don't get into the details, everybody knows, so this is just stating fact of what they were doing. They were adding a fence to corral off certain number of parking spaces, but it didn't really represent the other modifications that would be necessary for them to do that, which would be changing the drive aisles, changing access to the trash enclosure, et cetera. So they really have to demonstrate what they're doing and how they're doing it.
So
it's
they
not-
need to get moving on that if they want to be heard in April.
Okay.
Nobody said that was all.
Should we email them saying, hey, you're aware of?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Steve, if you want to email them something, just say, listen,
I think it's better because the scheduling goes through the planning board
Yeah.
secretary. If
I
you
will
just
email them and,
say, you know, we'll give a few,
Yeah, I was totally
we'll give a little leeway
unexpected.
because
Yeah.
we want
yeah, we'll give it to
to
them.
be pro-business.
But we
Right.
But
received,
along with that leeway, if they don't make the date, it can be pushed off till May, right?
Right.
Something like that?
whenever we get the stuff.
Right.
Yeah, yes, Keith.
They should know that.
so nobody's received anything.
No,
No.
they've received communication with me, they're in violation, they're supposed to make the variance to come out of violation, so we'll proceed with issuing a court summons to them, to get them motivated to
Yes,
do
that will
something.
motivate.
Yeah. And certainly, you know, work with them, but they've got to do something about it. They're still storing the vehicles out there in an area that's not approved.
Well, I mean, obviously, we want to try to just let them know that we did receive notice that they would like to be heard in the April meeting, which we are more than happy to do so. But in order for us to do that, we have to have a complete application, which we do not have to even begin our review of.
And plans, wasn't that the
We'll
problem?
have to
Yeah,
find
they
a
do.
certain
We
date.
didn't have plans.
We don't have a really description, all we have is a schematic,
Yeah.
8.5 by 11 sketch, which doesn't, we're privy to the previous approved plans. So when you compare where they want to fence off for the previous approved plans, you see where the conflicts are, and they have to demonstrate how they would resolve those conflicts and provide it to us, provide it to the board for your consideration. I did have the opportunity to speak with their attorney in advance when they were deemed incomplete, so they're aware of what they need to do.
Because next month we're early, next month it's the 8th,
It's the 8th, yes.
you know, so they do need to kind of giddy up on
Yes,
this.
they are aware of what is necessary.
Yeah, they knew the date, they advertised the date, you know,
So just make sure they know we need to have it.
ASAP.
If not, they just won't be heard.
I will also tell you that I had a gentleman come into the office about putting a pole barn on his property. He owns a home at the end of Evesham Road. That's a very large property, I didn't realize they were already that large there. Keith knows about it also. So that's an application we might expect for the April meeting also.
Good. I guess we had some email going back and forth, just to bring the board up to speed. The young lady that was trying to put the dance studio up, she had inquired about not only using it for a dance studio, but expanding her use into some type of a meeting hall, some type of perhaps a Bible study or something. And I emailed Mr. Rowan, and unfortunately, she's not allowed to do that. That is a change of use, and every time she has to change use, she would have to come in here. I mean, again, we want to try to help everybody out, but I'll defer to you if you want to expand the
Yeah, I mean,
project.
if it had been similar to a dance studio or compatible, but I think from the emails that we had, Candy, it seemed this was a completely different use, a
Right.
meeting hall or some, I forget what.
I think it was a Bible study or
Yeah,
something, and
so
then,
I
It was an
think,
assembly use. because
Correct.
we're
yeah, I
looking
think
at
she's
it.
really then, you know, have to come in and get your approval.
yeah, so that's where that stands. Did you have something you wanted to go over with this, Steve?
Yes, if I could.
I guess really.
Yeah, I actually have a question regarding the dance studio.
Yes.
Because, you know, she came to our
re-mentioned our meeting, spoke with us a little bit about what was going on, because we're trying to help her a little bit.
Absolutely.
And, you know, those activities that she's talking about, the Bible study things, they're not part of her business. They're like social things she wants to do after hours. So I don't see how that impacts her ability to open her business.
Well, what is the case on that?
Well, was she going to charge for
No.
these meetings?
Well, see, that was-
Was it a
I
religious
thought this was resolved
organization?
last time.
No, see, yeah, there's me.
Her business, the dance studio, is not impacted by that. She has a certificate of occupancy.
Right.
And she's open for that business.
Yeah, so what
These
happened-
were additional uses she was seeking.
Well, there were after hours uses. The reason, she wasn't seeking them. What happened, the way she explained it to me, was when she had the fire inspector come in and she tried to tell him, he said, what are you going to be doing in the place? And then she listed everything that might possibly happen. It's sort of the same as, you know, my studio is a stained glass studio, but I'm hosting the reentry meetings there after hours. It's a voluntary service that I'm giving. And she said the same way. She was looking for ways to help serve the community.
Right.
By having.
That's a little bit what I had said in my email was, you know, what I said in my email is that, you know, people have AA meetings, you know, to help people out. People have meetings, gatherings for the youth to give out their trophies, have a little pizza party. So, I mean, if she's not going to be, now that was my question for it. If it's not going to be part of the business,
The only thing that I get
why are we
concerned
involved?
with, and I mean, I usually take a strict interpretation unless there is leeway that can be given that's backed up by case law. But how do you know this use that she's going to, and it could be for Bible study, that's fine. Is it 10 people, 30 people, 15 people? How do you know? And then from there, where does it jump? And then if we have another business in town, hey, after hours, I want to have my buddies come over or people come in to do this. You lose control. And once you let one, then you're going to have to maybe believe another. Not that we would deny her, but I think it's better if a board looks and sees what they're going to be doing there.
well, my thought was that, you know, I certainly don't think if someone says, I want to have 15 people in for something that we're going to necessarily deny her. You know what I mean? But if we have control over it, like you said, I don't think anybody up here is going to say that's a terrible idea.
I just want to caution everybody, when we have our land use ordinance, it's based on uses, not primary uses, secondary uses, third uses,
Okay.
part-time, it's uses.
Okay.
So unless it's an expressly permitted use, it's not permitted.
Okay.
And I don't care if it's after hours, before hours, a
Okay.
use is a use, and that's really what we have to look at. We don't take into account economics or anything else, which we're not allowed to, but unless it's permitted use, it's not permitted.
Well, that's why you're here.
So your building zoned as, she told me that it was.
And again, I haven't done any review, but I just want to make sure, when you're talking about, you know, can they use it, if it's not, if it's per or like grandfathered in use and using something after hours, I'm not going to be the use police, but I just want to be careful and say to the board, is we have to follow our ordinance, and ordinance is there for a reason.
So worst case scenario, she has to come in before us and just explain what she wants to do, and then we just try to answer.
Well, I did ask her those questions, and she said the reason that she was, felt tied because of that is in order for her to come and do those additional variances, it's a significant amount of money that she has to pay in order to comply with that. And
She's own the building or rent
She's just renting.
She rents it.
So he's got to come in anyway, right? Yeah. The owner.
Yes.
Or give her permission. Or, yeah,
Or consent
consent to the application.
So it sounds like the dance studio is grandfathered in, is it?
No,
I think we
That was approved.
granted variance for that.
So that runs with the land, so there's a use variance already granted for the dance studio.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and if it's not specifically permitted in the ordinance, our zoning officer really has to enforce our zoning ordinance.
So it's-
And you can't just give someone permission to this one individual the use runs with the land. So just like it doesn't matter how many times this dance studio changes operators, that property is vested in running with the land forever and a day to be used for a dance studio. So any other uses, if it's assembly or if it's great causes, but if it's not specifically listed in our ordinance, it can't be permitted. That's the same as in residential zones. So people might have gatherings and things like that, but residential use is the use that's permitted.
Okay. Well, we certainly can't change the law, but
I think that the only fee for service is the dance studio.
Absolutely.
And everything else is really,
Yeah.
should not be considered or even mentioned.
Right.
And, if she's gonna have her dance, people get together after the dance and have a little get together, okay, that's on her.
Yeah.
But I think that, I just want to bring that point up. The only fee, the only business operation is the dance studio. I think period, that's probably where it should be.
Yeah, and inherent, I think, in a group, in a dance studio, people are assembling because they are practicing for performing, and there's a situation where there may be,
And the first point of contact is the zoning officer. So if she's concerned that anything she would be doing would be not under her permitted use, she could consult her own professionals, or she could ask the zoning officer.
And I did have a conversation with her regarding this. And the zoning issue aside, you also have the building use aside, because she did indicate to me, for example, they possibly were going to utilize the basement. So now you're utilizing, as Dave said, you don't know, you're changing it in place of assembly with limited egress, and there's where your conditions arise. It's more than just a few people gathering, afterwards. There has to be a limitation on it, and that's why we have these codes in place.
well, isn't there a limitation placed on how many people are allowed to be in the building? That's something that's going to come.
Right, the option.
That's based on use and type of construction
Right.
and egress, everything under the building.
So if she clearly knows what that is and she stays within that number, then.
Well, she has to meet the number and all the conditions for the assembly, but the use is primary zoning. We can't tell someone to conform to a facility if the zoning is not approved.
And the zoning is approved for.
For dance.
Well, he says he used variance, and I don't have the actual zone.
Yeah.
that's what we're.
So if anybody else is in there, just start dancing and you're good.
It's a commercial dinner.
General office.
General office,
Yeah.
okay.
So this is a general office zone.
Right.
Yeah, so it's zone general office, and the variance is to allow that to be used for dance, correct?
Right.
So does that mean none of the general office use is allowed to continue?
No, the general office use is allowed by right.
Okay, so when you're in a general office, do you not have a meeting?
I think you're getting into
It
abstract.
needs a variance.
Yeah.
It needs a
And it's
It's another use,
use.
and it's not even if it's supplemental or compatible to a dance studio.
Well, I think we're getting into very difficult territory if we say that we're legislating that they can't assemble to have on their own time.
That's what, and that's what a zoning ordinance is, it does legislate.
Yeah, but that's why we're having.
These are the judges you guys are the judges of that legislation. So that's when a person, when they want to do it, they come before us. They could come before us and you could say, you know what? Heard the testimony, we don't think you need a variance. Just, you got permission to do it.
Can we do that?
But that starts with a variance application. But it needs a variance.
So explain to me what the costs that are involved.
The costs are, what the costs are.
$250
yeah.
application
And see,
fee
that doesn't-
and $1,500 in escrow.
Yeah, and it is costly.
And it's a
But that's something we
certified list
can't
of property
waive,
owners.
because then the next person's gonna come in, well, you waived it for Miss So-and-so, waived it for me.
That's why we're having this discussion, because I didn't want anybody to not know what exactly was going on, why, where,
And
how.
I hear your argument, and I think we all do. But when it's legislated, when the zoning ordinance says, this is the zone, general office, if it's not a listed use, as Steve said, it's prohibited. It's
So-
prohibited, it's not if, it's prohibited.
So when we did our zoning, and, you know, we recently went through a master plan reexamination, we went through all the zones, and we looked at things that we might want to have changed in the borough. And even when the general office was originally created, it did not list assembly type of uses, you know, tavern bars, you know, I'm just going through like that one. So it's not in there. Now, if that's something that someone wants to change for a particular property, the municipal land use provides one way to do that, which is a use variance application, a D variance application, where they would come in, present their case to this board as a zoning board, get 5 affirmative votes out of 7, and then that use would travel with the property over, in addition with all of the underlying uses of the current zoning of the general office. Or if it became a problem overall in the district, then the time to do that would, well, you can do it anytime as a planning board and say, we should change it for every property in the general office to allow for the assembly. And you would make that recommendation up to mayor and council for them to.
Modify the plan.
There has to be some good reasons. It really, so if it's a specific piece of property, it really runs with the owner of the property, then the owner here with the tenant, for them to be able to get to use it. Use that property for anything other than what's listed in our zoning ordinance for that zone.
Does the general office, does it have anything that complies with that?
As far as,
As
it complies with the use of less than 49 people.
Right.
So it's a business use, it's not an assembly.
I got you.
So I just wanted them,
That's building subcode,
Yeah,
that's building subcode, that's not our work.
Oh.
it's not, yeah, this is not,
That's building subcode, which is that.
that's the technical aspect, as opposed to the administrative, is what they're speaking about, the zoning and the approval.
so anyway, that's the law, and that's why it was said to her, what was said to her. It wasn't an opinion.
No, that's
It
good.
wasn't
That's the way
something
you do
that
it.
somebody didn't want to do. I mean, frankly, I would have, you know, tried to help anybody, but that's why we have these 2 gentlemen here. They are professionals, and it's the letter of the law, and that's what we have to govern by. It's not opinions, it's not feelings, it's the law. So it's like anything else, you know, it's the math, when we do calculations, this is the law, and that's what we have to go by. We don't have a choice. you know.
And I will say, besides our wonderful municipal land use law, which is only about that thick, you know, and with all the amendments, it's about that thick, there's a book putting out every year, the COX book, that has, and it's updated every year for all of the case law that goes into how the municipal land use law in New Jersey is interpreted. So if you have any sort of thought, well, you can look up a lot of these things. So we have to follow not only what the municipal land use law says, but all these interpretations pretty much have been vetted out with different
Case law.
different
Yeah.
court cases.
Yeah.
So not only do we have to follow the municipal land use law, but the interpretation of that really has, since the beginning of zoning in the 70, 71, 72, all the case law now tells us how we have to interpret those provisions. So that's why I said, if it's not specifically listed as permitted use, it's not permitted. If it's not permitted, they have to come in for relief, or they can't operate.
Right. And sometimes it doesn't seem to be harsh, but that's why you folks have to, you control that. You make
Yep.
the decision on that law.
And the biggest thing is like anything else.
Interpreting
Get 1,
other
get 20.
case law or criminal law.
Yep.
You're quasi.
You're quasi judicial. You make the decision.
I just wanted to clarify that because I think a lot of people were not knowing exactly why she was told what she was told. And it's a matter of law, and we basically don't have the choice, so
And
we wish,
you don't really have room.
I wish her all the best, and hopefully, I mean, if she does come in here for a variance, I don't think anyone here is going to try to give her a hard way to go, but the law is law, and we have to go by the law, so that's that. All right, so, we had,
9th Avenue redevelopment.
go ahead, sir, 9th Avenue redevelopment.
So if you recall that you were referred the 9th Avenue redevelopment area by this board to conduct a determination of need of whether these areas are in need of redevelopment. I provided this map of the parcels that actually have the block and lot numbers on it. They're actually listed in the title block on the bottom right, but they're highlighted or outlined in yellow, which is all the way by the Cloverleaf. That's the Lakita property, which is lot 32. And there's several, there's four other properties which are vacant. 43.03 at the top, in the middle, 43.06. Below that, 43.05, and 2 lots right there adjacent to that, lots 1.01 and lot 1. We have completed our study. We will be asking you if we can come in next month for the actual public hearing, where I will present my findings that these areas do indeed meet the statutory criteria, and then I'll put my public testimony. Now, this is, if it's acceptable that we come in at the next meeting, work along with Joyce. This has very specific notice requirements. The notice requirements has to appear twice in the newspaper at a stipulated time in advance of the hearing, and also these individual property owners must be notified by certified mail. But I do not schedule anything unless I have permission to do so. So we'd like to do the public hearing in April.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on this? We've talked about it before. We're trying to add this, basically we're trying to add these parcels basically to what we did for the rectangle.
Yeah, we're keeping it a separate redevelopment area, very specifically on purpose. We have sort of like the Black Horse Bike Corridor, even though it's a hop, skip, and a jump away, we're calling it the 9th Avenue redevelopment area. So it would have its own determination need plan,
Yep.
Which we'll present next month, and then it will also, determination need study and designation, and also then it would also have its own redevelopment plan, which may have different standards than we considered for the Black Horse Bike.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
No, I think it's
Mr. Ryan, do we need a roll call for that?
No, just an acknowledgement, and we'll work along.
I think
And does
it's-
Joyce have to do that now before the next April meeting?
Yes, so Joyce,
We'll send you, you'll have it.
Candace will
Candace will
send you the form of notice.
Published twice.
Yeah, published twice.
Also,
And
I
then
have to notify these by, is it by,
Certified.
no, we didn't have to do certified now, remember? Can we search the law?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't
But I
have
do
to.
have to send it to them by mail though, should I?
Yes. And then you have to do the jot it down somewhere in your records that you physically sent these mailings out this day.
Yeah, Kansas will send me all
Yeah,
that.
certification.
Yeah, I forget, you have to attach somewhere and keep it in your office.
All right, so with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, I appreciate that, Mr. Bach. That sounds like a wonderful plan. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to go over for old business or new business? All right, well, with that, we'll open up to good and welfare. Anyone out in the public wishing to speak on any matter whatsoever, please come to the microphone, state your name and address to be heard.
See no from the public, I move motion to close
Take a
the
move.
motion.
I'll second the motion.
All right, moved and made by Joe and seconded by Mr. Ranieri. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Well, if that's all we have. Motion to adjourn at 7:30.
Make a motion?
Mr. White and Mr. Ockley, all in favor?